How do we deal with getting backlash around our boundaries that we set? It happens all the time. And in fact, on a previous video I did about boundaries, that was a question that came up. How do I deal with it when I get backlash for setting boundaries? When loved ones threaten to take away their affection or care or support because my boundaries don't align with what they believe or what they want. This is such a common, powerful thing. Stick around to the end because I'm going to share some thoughts and ideas about why this happens, what to be noticing, and how we can stand true to our boundaries, okay? I'm Kim Marie. Welcome to the channel. I am a transformational life and leadership coach supporting women on the journey to reclaim who they are, to step into their full potential, to feel truly empowered with a meaningful and fulfilled life. This channel is all about offering support and tips and guidance to help us all navigate life with that kind of empowerment, all right? So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, like, share, all that good stuff, because it helps the channel, genuinely helps it to grow and helps it to support more and more and more women. I want to touch on this concept of our boundaries. Now, take a look at some of my other videos on boundaries. You'll find them in the videos list, and they'll be linked to here. But I want to share that first and foremost, we really want to assess our boundaries over and over again, right? In other videos, I've talked about how our boundaries may shift. We may need to contract them and tighten them a little bit, or we may need to expand them a bit. We may compromise here and there depending on what's going on, as long as we're always staying true to ourselves, right? And we want to be looking at one very, very important question around our boundaries. Are we setting the boundaries to protect ourselves? Or are we setting the boundaries so that we can progress in our life, okay? Protection or progression? That's the question we want to be asking. And here's what I mean by that. If we're setting boundaries to protect ourselves, then it can be very easy to say, okay, this is a boundary I'm setting that's going to keep me safe and keep me from having to take any risks or step outside of my comfort zone or let anyone in or get my heart broken or any of those kinds of things. And the truth is, those kinds of boundaries are going to keep us stuck. Sometimes they serve us for a little bit. You know, we might need to tighten the boundary for a little while our heart heals from a heartbreak, or, you know, while we're learning to get stronger within ourselves because of a situation that we've not been able to navigate well in the past. And so maybe we set some boundaries to, you know, separate ourselves from those situations so that we can get stronger. But if we forever keep that as a boundary and we never are willing to go there, then we never allow ourselves to see what our new edges might be, right? And so we always want to make sure that our boundaries are truly being set for the sake of our progress. We are evolutionary beings. We're constantly growing, at least hopefully we are, right? I don't personally believe, and this channel isn't about the idea of just being stagnant, just sitting where we are and just being in this place forever and ever. This is about growth. This is about, you know, expanding who we are, stepping into our full potential, being full creative beings, trying new things, opening up to new possibilities, right? So if our boundaries are holding us in this protective barrier, that can become the shadow side of boundaries. That can become something that keeps us stuck. We want to make sure that we are first assessing our boundaries to be progressive, all right? So if we're getting backlash on our boundaries, we might want to ask ourselves, am I being too rigid? Is there too much here? Now, the other piece is, have you communicated your needs? Have you communicated the needs that you have, the boundaries that you have? Are people aware of the boundaries and why you have them, right? Yes, there are times when we can honestly and arguably say, I don't need to explain myself. This is my boundary and I'm asking you to respect that. In the situation of family members, close loved ones and whatnot, there might be a little bit of a, I don't know, easier navigation if we take a little bit more time to explain ourselves, okay? Because when people know us to be one way and then we're shifting to another and they're not used to that, we might explain to them, okay, this is why I'm doing this. I really want to grow as a person, but I notice I need to set some boundaries to help me to do that so that I don't get lost in the shuffle. And this is what I've noticed myself doing. We want to be really careful that we're communicating and setting those boundaries based on us, our needs. If we catch ourselves saying, well, I'm setting this boundary so they won't hurt me, or they won't do this to me, or they won't blah, 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 blah. It's time to reevaluate your boundaries. Your boundaries are for you, not so they will or won't do this or that, okay? You want to make sure it's for you. So in other words, my boundary is here so that I won't get lost in doing too much for other people. My boundary is here so that I will make sure I stick to my word and achieve my accomplishments, right? My boundaries are here so that I can heal. It's all about you. That's what the boundaries are for. They're not there to make people do something or other. That you have to understand. It's so, so critical. Now, a couple of things we want to be aware of in the concept of boundaries. When we get backlash from others about our boundaries, chances are there's an insecurity in them. There's a maybe a stubbornness and an unwillingness to allow things to change because they're used to a certain way. Maybe they're projecting their own fears and concerns onto you, right? Or their own unwillingness to meet their own conscience onto you, right? And you want to be aware of gaslighting, all right? Oh, you never said that to me. You never told me that. Right? When you know that you did, or I didn't know that, you've always done it this way. It can be very easy for people in our lives to use projection or gaslighting as a way of justifying their position, keeping us from expanding our position or changing our position. And sometimes that comes in the way of manipulation, threat to your security or connection, and a sense of lack of acceptance for you, which brings me to the last piece that I want to talk about here, which is our inner wisdom and truth about who we are and our unique soul's journey goes beyond tribe, okay? In our human evolution, years and years ago, thousands of years, we focused on the tribe. If someone went against the tribe or wanted to do things differently than the tribe, they were cast out. And being cast out typically meant you couldn't survive, all right? So you pretty much had no choice but to go along with the tribe. Now, on a good note, hopefully good tribes would see the best in the unique gifts in different people and try to assign people within the tribe to the tasks that they would be able to best serve and best utilize their uniqueness and bring forth their uniqueness, right? And that's all well and good. But in today's world, what we see kind of used to be more tribal is becoming this concept of collective consciousness, or when you end up kind of having this group surrounding the guru. I've talked about this in other videos around, standing up for yourself and having your own voice. We don't want to be focused on this idea of tribe. And if you're getting people saying that it's not okay for you to have boundaries because it goes against the tribe, which might be your family, it might be your community, it might be your workplace, whatever it is, if you have truly assessed your boundaries, you know that they're for you and not to make other people do something. You're not setting them just to spite somebody else, just to be mean because you haven't communicated with them. Like some people, I hear them say, well, I'm never gonna take work from that person because they're just always expecting me to do this work at their job, right? And then suddenly they just stop. They say, yeah, I'm not taking any more work. And they don't want to explain themselves and they don't talk about it. But they've never had the conversation of, hey, this bothers me. I don't like doing this, and I think I need to set a boundary because I'm doing too much of this work and it's not allowing me to do other work that's important to me, or whatever it is, right? We need to know that we've assessed our boundaries. We're truly making them for us and our progress, our well-being. We're not doing them to spite or hurt other people. We're taking care of ourselves in a healthy, progressive way, not a protective way that keeps us from growing and moving forward. And then we want to make sure that we're not being gaslit, that we're not having others project their fears and their challenges on us, right? You might even just try to set boundaries like, you know what? I know writers, and I do a lot of writing too, and I have to set really strong boundaries of, this is my writing time. I'm creating my annual Sacred Nights of Winter journal, and I'm going to be writing for the next 4 weeks. And that means I'm not going to visit with friends. I'm not going to connect. And then you get friends or family or, oh, come on, you have time to talk. You can do this. You can make this happen. They don't like it when you're not going to be available to them, right? And that's them projecting what they think it should be, what they want, what they believe. And it's not them respecting or honoring your boundaries and your needs. And if you've communicated them and you've explained and you've set those limits for yourself, and they keep projecting, or they try to tell you, oh, maybe they just drop in one day. And if you say, look, I said I don't want to have visitors. I don't want to have, oh, you never told me that. I'm just stopping in to say hello. You never said that to me, right? That's gaslighting. That's trying to pretend it doesn't exist. That's ignoring it or putting it on you as if you did something wrong. If you start seeing those kinds of things, then yeah, you might need to tighten up those boundaries, right? You might need to separate yourself from the situation. You might need to move away from the situation. You might need to reassess and reevaluate who your friends are, who you're spending your time with, right? I am a big believer that gratitude for the family that we're born into is so important, right? I think we choose our family. I think we come in with lessons to learn and opportunities to gain. Even if it's a really trying and difficult situation, I see countless women, myself included, who learn by contrast, right? All the things that we want to do differently or want to experience or share differently in the world to help the world in a better way. And we wouldn't have known that had we not gone through that challenging life, right? And yet, there's gratitude. There can be gratitude for the experience that we've gotten, but it does not mean we have to spend our time there. It does not mean we have to accommodate the schedules of everyone else even in our family. It is really, really important that you take care of your boundaries and yourself and your needs and your time and communicate that and expect it to be respected. So if you're getting backlash around setting boundaries, I hope that these are some really powerful tools that can help you to evaluate the situation. If it's a situation where they continue to say, oh, come on, or that's ridiculous, or they pull away their affection, then you also have to go inward and say, I'm enough. I love myself. I have other friends that are going to respect my boundaries. I'm maybe creating another family over here that's going to nourish me and support me. There's a saying that says we are the cumulative sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. All right. Are those 5 people genuinely honoring your boundaries, nurturing you, lifting you up, supporting you, encouraging you, helping you to move forward? Or are they holding you back, criticizing you, projecting things on you, gaslighting you? Are they not respecting your space and your boundaries? And then it's time to reevaluate, if that's the case, where you're spending your time and start limiting that. Sometimes those things can fade away. Sometimes you have to set a hard boundary and say, I don't want to spend time with you anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not okay with this anymore. And this is it. I'm not showing up, right? That's up to you and your unique situation. If you have some unique situations and you'd love to share them, I know that when we share, we, one, get witnessed by the community, and other people learn from that. We all learn from each other, because I guarantee you, you are not the only one with that situation, that your situation is going to have similar resonance for other people. And so share in the comments, where are you having trouble? What kinds of specific situations are going on? And I'll do my best to reply to every single one as best I can, and share my thoughts on possible ideas. And if you're looking for support on setting boundaries and sticking to your boundaries and communicating with others and those kinds of things, I would love to have a conversation with you about coaching and mentoring. That is a service that I provide. It can be super helpful to have someone walk by your side and support you on this incredibly challenging but beautiful journey called life. All right, I hope that's helpful. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Share this with others. I know lots of people struggle with this concept of boundaries, and I hope this was super helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.